And just like that, we are live for night 5 of Kwanzaa. Hello, 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 everyone. Habari Gani. As I've been saying since we started this on December 26th, when someone says Habari Gani, the answer is the principle of the day. And so you would answer today's principle is Nia, which means purpose. And so when someone says Habari Gani, the other person says Nia, and what's the news, right? So the person that said Habari Gani, after they say Nia, they say what's the news. Habari Gani simply means what's the news. We know that today is the 5th day of Kwanzaa. We know that Kwanzaa is a 7-day celebration about these principles and values that were created by Dr. Karanga, Karanga Malana.
Milana Karanga.
I've been getting right all night. I was like, I'm putting these letters back. Marlene Karanga, in 1966, the ground African Americans to give us some values and principles. We're waiting on one other guest. He'll be hopping on in a moment. He's in Central. Dr. Barfield is on Pacific. She's out in Fresno, California. Mr. Corey Boucher Fuller is in Tallahassee, Florida. And I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. And then we're going to have Dr. Christopher Youngale, who's jumping on, and he's in St. Louis, Missouri. And so he'll be on shortly. But we are talking about Kwanzaa today. We've been talking about Kwanzaa all week since last week. So it started last week. And so here we are in this new week talking about Kwanzaa. And so we're going to just give us a chance to share these to our pages. Corey, you can share from my page directly to your page or the Facebook page, because it's a public page. So you guys feel free to share to your pages. It's on mine. So you can just share from mine if you want. And it's on our Black Educators Rock Facebook page. And so feel free to like, comment, and share as you guys come in. Let us know where you're hailing in from and tell us Habari Gani. And we're going to get started shortly. I need to just share these in the groups. Let me find it. There we go. Turn it down. So while I'm sharing, see, we can go to groups. So tonight's principle again is Nia, guys. The principle is purpose. So we've had a conversation about unity. We also talked about self-determination. We talked about cooperative work and responsibility. Last night we talked about cooperative economics. And so tonight is purpose, right? And so I don't know, Dr. Angie, you and I were having a conversation yesterday, getting ready for this conversation. And, it made me think about something. I was talking to you, and I'm going to tell the good people what I told you yesterday. And so hopefully this doesn't come off kind of harsh. But, I was saying, okay, these first 4 days of Kwanzaa, right? We've just had unity, and we had self-determination, and we had collective work and responsibility and cooperative economics. That Boucher, that Dr. Chris, that's about us grown people trying to get ourselves together. But these next 3 to me, they are more focused on future. They're more focused on, what are we doing for the little ones? How are we focusing on them? I was talking to a pastor friend of mine today, and I was saying to him, you know what? We're not doing enough for the kids. And I'm excited to say that that's why tonight, these phenomenal people that we're talking to, their purpose, their God-given purpose is about serving our children. And so many more of us need to make sure we understand that is a part of all of our purpose, no matter where we are. All of us should be serving our young people. And, then we had the conversation, Coach Fuller. We had the conversation, Dr. Angie, about, well, what would be young people? And so I said 30 and under. He said 35 and under. I said that, because, there's, you guys know the famous quote by Frederick Douglass, it is better to build strong build strong children than repair broken men. So we need to build strong over repair broken, right? And that is what I think tonight's conversation is going to lead into is, purpose and how these people are doing phenomenal work. and that work is in the future. Because if we're not preparing the future, y'all, we ain't gonna have nothing the rest to. It's gonna be time for all us to go take a break to rest. It's gonna be time to pass the baton, and we're not gonna have anybody to get that baton to. So, with that being said, guys, hopefully you got a chance to like, comment, and share. Make sure you share with other people. Again, Habari Ghani. The response will be Nia. Tonight's principal is Nia. I am Dr. Melissa Noland Chester. I am the co founder and CEO of Black Educators Rock. Black Educators Rock is a national member nonprofit. We have members all across the country and internationally. We have in Africa and Canada. And so, what Black Educators Rock is more than a Facebook group, right, Dr. Angie? When I meet people all across the country, they're like, "Oh, I'm a member." I'm like, "Yeah, no, you're not. You're in the Facebook group though, but you're not a member." Because to be a member, Dr. Christopher, you remember you were there with me in the very beginning. There's a $52 membership a year, 52 little dollars. That's it. Just think about if we had a lot of us supporting that, the impact, the larger impact that we could be making. We host an annual professional development conference that we do in the summer to encourage educators to get pumped up about the upcoming school year. We did that because when Dr. Chris and others of us were monitoring the Facebook pages, Dr. Andrew, we would notice that teachers was like negative. I mean, it was bad in there. It was like I was so shocked, Coach Fuller, to hear Black adults talk so badly about Black children. We had to shut down all the commenting. I forgot to mention this over 100,000 people. We grew to over 100,000 people in less than 3 months. And it's all negative, like the narrative is negative. And so we shut down the conversation. We started making the posts get approved, and we decided that we had to do more than just be a Facebook group. So we created the nonprofit in January of 2016. July of 2016, we hosted our first professional development conference. And I am proud to say this summer, 2026, will be our 10th annual rock conference. We started, Christopher, you were there in Orlando, Florida. That was our first one. And so we're going to take it back, Coach Fuller, to where it started. So it will be in Orlando, Florida, July 17th through the 20th. And that is the 10th annual rock conference. And so super excited about that. So again, we're more than a Facebook group. I will make sure that you get to see our website is simply blackeducatorsrock.org. You can check out all our past conferences at rockconference.org. But we would love for you all to consider becoming a member. And so this is Black Educators Rock's fourth annual year hosting the Kwanzaa celebration. We started again 3 years. This is our fourth year, and it was really about bringing educators and community leaders on to talk about the principles and how they embody those principles. Not a Kwanzaa expert. I didn't consider myself one. I had gotten into it probably a couple years earlier, but knew Principal Kafele, knew Big Sis Dot, because I know if you're not on, you'll be on, that these things aligned with who I was and how I moved. And so I found myself very, very drawn to them, and I wanted to know more. I wanted other people to know about them. And so we started the platform of the virtual Kwanzaa celebration. And we also stress that this is just not about these 7 days. This is not about December 26th to January 1st, right? That is the time in which we recenter, we reflect, we come back, we recalibrate in order to get ready to intentionally and purposely live our lives, and hopefully have those 7 principles, the Nguzu Saba, intertwined into our daily lives. And so, like we said, 7 principles. They are not religious. They're cultural, right? They're secular. There's the final principle is faith. It starts in unity and ends in faith. You have the other 5 in between there. So you have Umoja, which is unity. And then you have Kujichagulia, which is self-determination. You have Ujima, which is collective work
Collective
and
work and
responsibility. And then after Ujima, you have Ujima, which is cooperative economics. Tonight is Nia, which is purpose. Tomorrow is Kuumba, which is creativity. And the last day again is Imani, which is faith. And so those are your 7 principles. They are again here as a celebration of Black family, community, and culture. right? That is what it is. And so we're going to have a conversation with three other leaders, educators. I call them education advocates that are doing this work across the country. And so before we get into a conversation, we're going to talk a little bit about the first four, and we're going to dive it deep into five, principle five. But before we do that, let's meet them. Let's let you guys get up and close and personal with them. And so we're going to start with, of course, the queen over there in Fresno, my sis, Dr. Angie Barfield. Hey, lady.
Good evening, or should I? Yeah, it is evening. It's 5. The sun is starting to go down over here. I know
Starting
all
to go
y'all in
down.
the dark, and our sun is just starting to go down. We got a little sunlight today. Thank the Lord. But hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Angie Barfield, and I proudly serve as the executive director and co-founder of Black Students of California United, which is a youth-led, youth-founded organization with three other co-founder partners of mine, Miss Deborah Watkins, Miss Jacqueline McFadden, and Dr. Angelo Williams. And so our organization, we've been around, God, we're going on 10 years of establishment in 2026, but we're really about the youth. We were established to engage young people civically, culturally, and then also that leans in. We believe that that would improve academic and social. Um, we've, we really believe that our culture is what is should be the foundation of everything that we do. And we were finding that our young people just didn't know who they were. They didn't understand our culture. They didn't understand the respect that goes into being a Black person, period, regardless of where you're from. Um, we also understood that a lot of our kids aren't African Americans. They're Black. They could be Caribbean. They could be Jamaican. They could be Brazilian. They could be Mexican. And a lot of people say, why do you say Mexicans? Because our African people were taken to Mexico and the Caribbean. So they're here. We're all in this thing together. So it's really about forming this collective thought of young minds to help us to build. So it's funny you were talking about, passing the baton, and I'm a former track coach and basketball coach, so I can say I am truly creating relay teams right now across the country that can continue to pass the baton, because if we don't, we're in trouble. Based on what our young people are dealing with right now in America, they don't know they're reliving history. Dr. Chester, they don't get it
They
yet.
don't know because we
They
haven't.
don't know because they haven't been taught, right? And so what BSCU does is it takes them on this journey of, one, getting to know who they are as self so that they can engage civically, they can get in and understand policy, they can get in and stand true on who they are. So when they're in these classrooms and they're hearing this crazy stuff, they don't trip. Their first intuition is not to punch somebody in the throat. It's really going to teach about, let me show you, let me share some things with you. Like, the light bulb wasn't just because of the white man, Thomas Edison. If it wasn't for Lewis Latimer, you wouldn't have nothing, right? So appreciating who they are as Black youth, and then moving forward so that they can continue to educate and be a part of wonderful things. So I'm grateful to you and BER because it opened that whole realm of life for me. As an adult, as a mom, I'm a mother of 7, a grandmother of 5, and a great grandma of 3 now. Just had one right before
Ooh,
Christmas. So
girl, that
it's
don't
my
crack for
purpose.
real, girl. You what you say? A great grandma?
So it's my purpose. Today is
A
my
great
day
grandma.
because I'm living my purpose, right? Like, I know what I'm supposed to do. My mama put it in me. My grandma put it in me. So it is my duty to do this work on behalf of not just California's Black children, but all Black children, because that migration is happening. You're getting a lot of California kids in Florida. I mean, there's a lot of them coming. So I want to ensure that we're preparing them and cultivating them with the right mindset. So when y'all get them, they get to work. So that's me in a nutshell.
Great grandma. Great grandma. My great grandma, mother of 7, and doing this work and helping all Black babies. Thank you so much. Corey Boucher Fuller.
Yes, how y'all doing? Thank you, Dr. Melissa, for inviting me on. I am Corey Boucher Fuller. Boucher is my real middle name. Most people think it's a nickname. I am the director of player relations at Florida State University football. I played football at Florida State from 1999 4. Then I went and played in the NFL for 10 years. And then for 2 years, I did nothing after I retired. I was in a state of depression, to be honest. Uh, Going from a locker room from the age of 5 plus to 33 years old was a real shock for me. Retirement, not having a locker room to go into, not understand what's my purpose. Why do I know what I did, what I did playing football. My why was my mother and my grandmother. And then I was without a why, without a locker room. And I started going to the same place I started playing Pee Wee football at. It was late September. I went out there. I said, I'm going to go to the park. It was like a year and a half, 2 years after retirement. I put on a hoodie and I went to the stands and sat down. I didn't want people to bother with me. I'm from Tallahassee, so I went to college while high school in the same town I grew up in. Like everybody knows me. So I said, let me go out here and just watch these kids play. Maybe I can get some mojo back inside of me. Like I literally was just sitting in my house, not doing nothing. You can just imagine having a long career and like you only can buy so many things to make you happy. And so I went to a Pee Wee football game. And I was like, wow. The next day I went to my high school and I went and volunteered. I went to Rickers High School. It's on the south side of town. I grew up in a single mother home, had a brother. He got killed at 18, got shot in 1992 at 2:27 a.m. And me going to that Pee Wee football game again, it brought me back to life. The next day I went to volunteer in my high school. I started volunteering. I even went as far as to go there every day. I was going to the school because I wasn't married at the time. I had no kids biologically. And I went there and started volunteering. The next thing you know, I went into coaching. And I was like, you know what? Let me do what my coaches did for me. I realized that football was a vehicle for a better life for me. So now let me give back to it. And that was, I've been out the NFL 23 years. That's been almost 18 years ago. And so I volunteered at my high school, defense coordinator. When I went into this rural country town that's like 30 miles from where we live at, and I went over there and coached with him the next year when he became a head coach. And the superintendent walked up to me, and I wasn't ready, even though with all the football I done played, all the football I know. He's like, I'm gonna make you the head coach at the biggest high school in this county. I said, what? And then they didn't give me the job until like March, which spring football starts at the end of April. So I had to go to the school, had never won 5 games in existed. It was a brand new high school, but like 10 years old. And I went to coaching, and then I got a job at the school. And I told them, I said, listen, I'm very old school. I told the superintendent, listen, I'm not getting certified to teach. My degree is in child development. My major was criminology before my brother got killed. And I realized at the tender age of 22, one day I'm going to want to deal with kids in some way. I don't have an organization. If you follow me on Facebook, you can see all the stuff I do, how I try to give back. It's a blessing for me to be at my alma mater. I do believe in don't despise small beginnings. So I started at that school called East Gaston. The first year we was 5-5. The next year we lost the game to go to state. And the third year we was 8-3. And my boy got the job at FAMU University. I went there and coached for 2 years. And then I went back to this high school. I turned it back around again, and another high school called me. I went and turned their program around. And then at the end, I went and asked the head coach, do y'all need any help with recruiting at Florida State? I didn't even know Coach Mike at the time from my Apple. And he told me to hang back. And I was like, my son plays baseball. That's the one thing I realized being in locker rooms from with daddies who coach their kids, their sons, they had very strained relationships with the father and son. So yeah, I said, what, my boy ain't gonna play football. And I know all the ins and outs of the NFL, post career, all the things they don't do for players, like how many guys really suffer from the game of football that fans and people don't really get to see all the injuries that's not taken care of. You figure we'll have life insurance that not life insurance, health insurance that should be a lifetime. We only have health insurance 5 years post career. So that was another reason why I went and got a job. Like I was paying $2,000+ by that time I had got married and had stepkids, and I needed to make sure they was insured. And so when my insurance ran out from the NFL, it made me, I was like, I'm young, I'm 34, 35 years old. Why am I go work? And I started giving back my time. And once I became a head coach, I really realized that I can really make an impact in kids' lives through the game of football like it made for me. And so now I'm back at my alma mater working. So I tell people all the time, I'm a good cop, bad cop. It's a lot of other things I could be doing, making a whole lot more money, but the impact that I have on the kids, on the program, in the community, it makes it all worth it for me not to be out here motivational speaking and doing all that stuff right now. My wife probably would want me to be out on the speaking circuit, but I choose right now because of what happened to my only brother, my only sibling, to give back. And me being on this, listening to what it stands for, even though Dr. Melissa, we go back all the way from college days. You know, you had a long introduction tonight, but I'm gonna let you have. I'll talk to you about that off
You
the
have a long one now.
app. Yeah, but it has been a tremendous blessing for me to try to set the tone, to pass the torch on. And I always tell my son now that, and my daughter, listen, all I want to do when I hit the grave, I want to be empty and I want to be smiling that I left a legacy that y'all can try to continue to keep going on, that your last name means something. So um, football has did a lot for me and it's still doing a lot for me, but it's the way I can impact our community, our society, is through the game and all the extension of relationships I have made and met through the game of football. I still carry them on and use them with the kids that I dealt with. I've had a
Okay.
lot of
Okay.
good and bad.
This the intro. This the intro.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I told you you got a short time with me. Go ahead. Go ahead, Doc.
Listen, this has been since 1991. That's how long I've known this.
So y'all know, yeah,
But
we
he took
talk
that,
like this all the time.
Dr. Christopher. You know, you tried to bully me later on in life in 2016. We was doing Black Educators Rock, but please tell the good people who you are.
Good evening. We all came. Good evening. My name is Dr. Christopher Youngill. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I am the owner, operator, founder, and CEO of Imani Learning and Leadership. Imani Learning and Leadership was birthed out of the need for support for African American. I've been in education for 35 years. I actually started sub-teaching when I was 20 years old. I was driven into education because of family situations. When I was younger, my mother went from having me and my younger sister in the house to having me, my younger sister, and two of my nieces and two of my nephews. So we went from a house of 3 people to a house of 7. At the time, my nephew and I, we went to school together. He was in elementary school. I was at the middle school. Of course, a child who had just been displaced from his mother, now living with his grandmother, and his sisters, they displayed some behavior situations. What the school didn't, and so in the school's eyesight, they were just bad kids. Me sitting in the building, I'm like, they're not bad kids. It's just some stuff going on. There's just some stuff going on. And so subsequently, they wind up being labeled behavior disorder and all these other things. And I'm sitting there. So one day they finally called me in the office and was all like, Chris, what's going on with your nephew? And so I had an opportunity to tell them. And I was all like, my mother's not going to tell y'all this information because Black people keep our stuff inside. We're going to hold on to this and deal with this internally. But externally, the public and the school system started to see the misbehaviors and subsequently wind up labeling my nephews and nieces behavior problems, which are labels that they couldn't shake over the course of the years. Even when I explained to the school what was going on. And at that point, it became concrete to me as a child that that these type of discrepancies exist. I started teaching when I was around 20, my first sub job. I was 20, and immediately I saw that this same scenario was still playing itself over and over and over again in classrooms where kids were little Black boys and boys of color, period, were being mislabeled because of behavior and cultural. And I would say to people, that's not what you see. That's a cultural difference. There's something more to that. But most people just didn't want to really get into it. So what I said to myself was that I was going to give, when I got the opportunity, I was going to do as much to equalize the playing field for boys of color as I possibly could. Because luckily for me, going through school, I had the opportunity to have black male teachers at the elementary level, middle school level, high school level, and the college level. I have my bachelor's degree in elementary education from Harrisville State University. I have a master's degree in elementary administration, an ed specialist degree in middle school and high school administration, and a doctorate degree in STEM with an emphasis in science and mathematics. But all throughout the course of my educational career, I've always had the opportunity to have a strong relationship with an African American man. And it impacted my life dramatically. I became a member of the 100 Black Men in Metropolitan St. Louis at the age of 17. And I served as the mentoring chair for that organization for over 20 years because I understood the impact of having our mentoring chair. Mr. Tommy Dotes used to say, the one most important thing in a mentoring relationship is that that child has a long-standing relationship with somebody that actually cares about it. It has to have a long-standing relationship with somebody that actually cares about them. And so for me, when I formed Imani Learning and Leadership, which is actually named after my baby girl, whose name is Nia Imani, which comes from two of the principles in Kwanzaa, one of the things that I said was I needed to make sure that I always could create a safe space for boys to be able to have conversations and then about what was going on with them. And thus, Imani Learning and Leadership was born. And so we have morphed ourselves from just dealing with children to actually through some relationships from Dr. Ian Buchanan, Dr. Carter Oliver, and some other people here in the St. Louis area. We've been able to move to doing mentorship for aspiring principals, assistant principals, and teachers coming into the profession. So that's my story. That's all I got. I'm not long-winded like Doc.
Oh, you mean like Boucher? It's okay. Listen, I'm supposed to be long-winded. I'm the host.
Right, and she is though. And I've been, like she said, Mr. Boucher, I give her the blues. Mr. Fuller, I give her the blues all of the time. From the first day I met her, it was on. And
yeah, she always thought she was tough. She always thought she was tough.
She said they used to call her Little Mike Tyson back in elementary school. I said, what elementary school?
In Daytona, that was my nickname growing up in Soul City. Okay. Little Mike Tyson.
Okay.
And I didn't start no fights. I just ended them.
Okay.
People used to think because I was quiet, they could bully me. And they F8 and F0'd. And I was undefeated.
That mouth is undefeated.
I'm saying
yeah, just trust me.
Right.
That mouth is undefeated. She ain't no Mike Tyson. She ain't no Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Go ahead and run with your show now.
I'm the old Mike Tyson. I ain't the new. I ain't Mike Tyson. I'm Mike Tyson when y'all respect the Mike Tyson. Period.
Anyway.
You better stop saying that, man. That man still to knock people out now.
He just got beat up by kickboxer.
No, he's still Mike Tyson. All that stuff just to get money. That's just to get money. I don't believe in none of that.
Get back focused.
Okay.
Now we focus. So we know we had the first 4 days of Kwanzaa happen. We started on December the 26th. We had unity. We said that's the first. That's that black candle in the middle, right? That's the one that all the rest they built on that. That unity. Everything's built on unity. Really, really quickly. If you saw the live, if you didn't, that's fine. But something that you took away or you've taken away from the principle of unity when it comes to Black folks, just want to quickly take one comment about each one from each of us. Brief comment. So unity, right? What's your takeaway, Dr. Christopher, with unity?
It's the cornerstone of success. There is no man is an island. The Quran said no man lives unto himself. So it's impossible. You know, a lot of people say that I got here by myself. Never. There is no individual ever that has gotten anywhere in life. You may be as independent as possible, but there is no way that you're going to do anything in life. Man don't even make man by themselves.
Thank you. Dr. Angie?
For me, it's been about the unity, not to say that what my brother just said wasn't true. I'm saying it in the sense of reconciling ourselves first so that we can be a part of a community. There's nothing worse than asking somebody to be a part of something and they're the worst thing that you could ever brought to the party. You know what I mean? So my whole thing with unity is, with Umoja is reconcile your spirit, get yourself right so that you can be of a benefit to the community as a whole. And that's really something I've been pressing on our young people. They so messed up, they can't connect with anything, regardless of what you bring it to. But once you connect them and allow them to reconcile themselves, so I find out who they are as a whole person, then the Umoja principle has, I think, more impact in their lives because they know who they are and how they're walking. So I'm in agreement with my brother, but I'm going to add that.
You saying first it's got to be unity of self. That's something I always say. Every year I say that, Dr. Ranch. I say we can't have unity until we have unity of self. A lot of us are broken. We're unhealed. We have, unresolved trauma. And to your point, we bring that into the spaces and places that we work, play, and serve. And then, as I have been saying all week, are you improving the space? Are you making the space better, or are you a detriment to the space? Are you actually making that space worse? Right. And so thank you for that. And thank you, Dr. Christopher. Dr. Chris, for your comment. Corey, would you like to add anything as it relates to unity?
No, I just believe that I know I wouldn't be without the unity of my community. I wouldn't be the man I am without the unity of teachers and the educational system that I did go through. I disagree that the kids are all messed up. I think that a lot of adults, especially in one of the places we talking about in education, I think a lot of the adults are really messed up. We've given to the way of that these kids are different. When you think about the impoverished neighborhoods that most of us probably have worked at, the kids are still coming from the same neighborhoods to the same schools that we went to.
Yeah.
But the difference is that the grown people are not unified like the teachers was and the educator was when we came through. So it makes for a broken cycle and the lack of unity in our communities, which we keep saying it starts at home. True enough, it does. But my mother was a single mother and I badly saw her. And at the end of the day, kids spend more hours at school than they do at home in the course of a day, Monday through Friday. We should be making major impacts because of the unity of a staff and a school system, but mainly of a community. Our communities are broken because the community that we come out of, we have changed our ways, the way we parent and the way we care for each other. So unity for me is a thing that I would never forget. How my community, even the guys that was doing wrong, they was unified to say, Boucher, you're not going this way. And so that's what unity means for me and what it has done for me in my life. And one of the reasons I give back is because all the unity that I receive, that's why I do what I do now.
Yeah, I agree with all three of you.
Excellent.
I think all three of them are right. Like you said, Dr. Angie and I often talk about that. We talked about that when we talked yesterday. We talked about the fact that these babies messed up. I always said it's our generation, a generation before us. We stopped doing what was due for and to us. And so we cannot be angry at them. When I go and speak to kids across the country, whenever I'm going to speak before youth, the first thing I ever do, Dr. Angie, and it's funny because I've been on a panel. There's a whole bunch of us, and I was the last one to speak. And each one of us get up and we're addressing the big crowd. And they all y'all just terrible. You're not dressed around me. Everybody was just chastising the babies. So I got up and I said, before I begin my speech, I just would like to say I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize for my generation and the generation before me, because if all that stuff that has been said is true about y'all, it ain't your fault.
It ain't your fault. That's right.
It's on us, the village. The collective. And so I always start every conversation when I speak to youth that way, because we always, and I was just telling the pastor today, like everything is always external for everybody. Everything is somebody else and something and some other part. There is no onus. We've been talking about unity. When I think about unity, think about Black women and Black men and all these, y'all know it's so much going on with the social media with the perspective of the male and the female. And I said, and everything is focused on the other one. But if we would just each focus on ourselves and do and be better, so much would be minimized. So when I think of unity, I too think of what all three of you have said. I think of unity of self. It begins there, because without me healing who I am and dealing with my own things, I'm bringing a messed up person to the community. So it goes to what Corey was saying about, the community is who, what if it were not for the community, where would he be? Right. And so it goes into what Chris was saying, acknowledging that, and also in that educational system, we have to understand that there are spaces and places where our children's best interests are not being met. And so, unfortunately, it's not always from white people either. It's from a lot that look like them. Like I said in the beginning, Black Educators Rock, my Facebook group, I saw it real time. Like, we banned people. We went from like 150 to 145 because we got rid of 5,000 people. It's just like, you ain't got no business in here. Like, this really ain't your calling. This not the space for you, right? So we have to be honest about that, right?
One of the things people don't realize, like in education, it is like a team. So one thing, we have a lot of people. I think one thing they should do with teachers, educators, and principals. Back in the old days when we was growing up, a lot of principals came from the coaching realm. So it was easy for them to take bad schools because they had to deal with bad players, bad teams, and mold them and make them what they wanted them to become. Now, today, we have a lot of people that can pass tests. Most people that I've dealt with in my 13 to 15 years of education, most of the teachers are not even educators. They got debt, they had to get a job, they start teaching. So they don't even have a passion for what they're doing. And so it's just so hard. Like, and then when you get to the stage and you run into one that's at 25 years or 30 years, "Oh, I can't wait to retire." It's like, I never told that to myself as a player because I know when you put that stuff in your head, like
It's close.
you're done. You
You
just
done.
sit
It's
in a
close
chair.
right now,
You
right?
right. You're done. So I used to hate to hear teachers say, and they always thought I was being hard because I was a football coach. And they thought all I cared was football. Well, how does the school grade go up when I come there? Because I demand that you hire 4 or 5 teachers, male teachers on campus. And they can't be stuck in the classroom all day. They got to walk the hallway. So it's just so many things fundamentally that is broken
that
in the
we've
educational
gotten
system.
away from, Corey,
With
that
from
work, right?
and
We
right,
what
and we're
we've actually
very
done is
excuse
got away
making
from
people.
schools that actually work in school, in family, in community, right? In the
We
spaces that
just
we
we
into,
make a lot of
we got
excuses.
away
Like we
from that.
just excuse everything out. It's the
That's what I said.
kids. It's
Everything's
not enough
excuse.
resources. It's this. It's
Everything.
that. Like so, it's not just the harp. Like it's all the wrong people. Absolutely, we got bad kids. We got bad black kids. We got bad white kids. But at the end of the day, kids that come from the situation like I come from, I don't know all y'all background. We once you show us love, it can be real love, it can be tough love. But once the kids know it's real, they give you everything
They'll
they
run
got.
through walls for you. We know it.
There's a saying that says in education, before a kid cares about how much you know, they want to know how much you
How
care.
much you care.
Right.
See, I've come from that education element. So I was in the classroom for 15 years before I ever touched an administrative position. So when I got into administration, one of the things when I closed the whole middle school and they asked the middle school teachers, "Where do y'all want to go?" They said, "Wherever Dr. Young is going is where we go." Because I understand the relationship of being a classroom teacher. I understand what you have to put into those situations. Like you say, there are some teachers that I used to tell people. I had a mentor named Dr. Lynn Beckwith. His saying was this: if you can't change the teacher, change the teacher. I used to tell teachers all the time.
Yeah, that's the saying we say. If you can't
I
change,
need to help
change
you
the people.
find out where you need to be because this not it. This is not it. You are not servicing our children. You are doing collateral damage to these babies. And I, as their protector, have to get you out of this space, even if it causes me to lose my job with you. But we gonna both go out that door together, though. We gonna both go together. Because some of these people, like you say, they should not be in front of our babies. It's not their fault. Like Dr. Chester said, these babies are repeating behaviors that they see somewhere else. They are not, that's not coming from nowhere. And as adults, we are exacerbating it and making it worse because, like you say, some of these people, most of these people that are in classrooms are not trained to be educators. We are professional people. Somebody took us through a training program and gave us a degree, and some state accredited us saying that we knew what we were doing. And that's not what's happening now. Now is I need to put a warm butt in the space to babysit these babies and allowing them to do anything and everything. And that's not fair to them.
And you know what?
Eh,
That's the perfect segue into the next principle, which is self-determination, Kujichagulia. And so, because what you just said, you said something. You said, I'm going to do it even if it costs me my job, right? You said, even if it costs me my job, I'm going to do it, right? That's that unity, because that union, that unity mindset, you now moving into self-determination, and you're purposeful about, and you're more intentional about what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it, right? Because you are impacting the collective. Because I said individually, self-determination is about us overcoming our obstacles, overcoming, because sometimes we're our biggest obstacle, challenges, etc. But it's in order for us individually to collectively be able to define ourselves, to name ourselves, to create for ourselves, and to speak for ourselves. We've allowed everyone else to define and say and dictate who and what we are. You'll hear other Black people talking about how we got a bad culture. Black people in our culture is bad, when I should have looked up this quote. I should have looked it up yesterday when I said it. But there's a quote. Dr. Chika uses a lot of his presentations, and I've started to use it as well, Dr. Angie, that says that continued trauma, like long-term trauma in a group of people over time, begins to look
like a culture.
Right? So the things that they will say, Corey, Dr. Chris, that's our culture. These are not, these are trauma responses.
Right.
These are not, this is the reaction, the response to something else, right? It's not the cause, it's the reaction to. And so we, for far too long, have drank that Kool-Aid. We've listened to that, and subconsciously and unconsciously and sometimes consciously, a lot of us spew that same misinformation,
Right.
those same misstatements. And so when you're talking about self-determination, you have to be self-determined to be able to speak truth to power, even in a space where everybody else is liars.
Right.
And we know it happens often. And we know that, a lot of us, we are leveraged to the hilt. And so we can't even afford. And so we talk about that. I think one thing, Corey, you were talking about unity, and Chris, we were talking about growing up, Dr. Chris. I think the difference was too that we was different with our money. We was different with our dollars. That our parents was different with them dollars back then. They was a little bit more responsible, right? They knew how to make it stretch and do a little something with it. Might have to loan it out and borrow it back in. And they did some things, because now, we are high earners. A lot of us are high earners, but we spend all the money.
Right.
And so we can't afford to speak our truth, a lot of us, because we're tied to the system. And so self-determination is about that. It's about, how do I get to a place and space where my values and what I'm allowing and what I'm participating in, they align. Because when they don't align, how do I reconcile that, right? So self-determination. Coochie chocolate.
So I think I'll say that my academy, I have an academy that I run out here. It's called Ujima, and it's supposed to be collective work and responsibility. And the whole point of it is to bring Black students together who are on, like out here in California, now they're predominantly Hispanic campuses. They used to be predominantly white. But you had handfuls of Black students on these campuses, and they were ashamed of who they were. They would rather act like everybody else than to be who they are, right? And so what Ujima did was brought all of them together when the system was tearing them apart based on where they went to school, where they lived in the city, wherever it was, brought them together so that they began to hear one another and understand you're dealing with the same problems, just in different geography spaces. You over here calling him the N word, you over here calling her the B word, you talking about his grandma mad at your grandma. Drop it. This thing has to be a collective effort for excellence, period. Point blank. And you decide how they talk about you. You decide how they treat you. You decide how you speak and advocate for yourself. And so the gentleman, the county superintendent at the time when I started the program, he began to see the change in the kids. And the kids got to a point where they start telling the community about themselves and how they were treating them and what their expectation was of their community in order for them to elevate and be good. It's like, yay, we appreciate y'all coming out on Friday night for football, but what about my grades? What about finding me a job? What about, you know what I mean? Telling these superintendents, quit having these sorry, raggedy teachers standing in front of us when I know more than what they know, you know? Defend me. So, what Ujima has done is giving kids permission to practice Kujitagalia, right? It was like, who you are is not who she is, but it doesn't change that you guys are on the same journey, right? And so even with BSCU, we're doing that same thing with these kids. You can be in the Bay Area or you can be in LA. You still gonna have to fight for something, but you should have a collective around you to help and support you to do that, right? So in Ujima now, what I'm doing, thanks to some work with Dr. Akua, is I walk them through the 7 principles. Say, how does this principle apply to you? What does this look like for you? And then invite the community in to hear what those things are for those kids. And then they teach each other, because we have a broken bridge right now
Yes.
where our kids don't listen to the elders, and the elders, as we've been saying on here, think these kids is bad. No, they're not. They're not bad, right? They're just a little bit further ahead.
They're
So
further
to
ahead, but
me, that's what that is.
I think
Coochie
one thing that has
Chagalia
to
should
go,
be
Dr.
about our getting our babies back to that,
I think
right?
that I think
Speak your
I,
truth.
I think that what happens with our kids, though, when you say they're not bad, I think that what happens is adults forget who they were
That
growing.
part, because I had to go back and I
Yeah,
had to
because some of us
apologize
forget.
to
Like
my
it's
mama
not
because
like we were these
I was
perfect
a
children,
piece of
right?
dirt.
So I think that that's where that disconnect comes from. Like I think like I taught at FAMU for a number of years, like 13, 14, 15 years at FAMU, right? I taught there as a professor, and the thing that my students, you like when you looked at my professor, my ratings, the thing that they always said was that, oh, it was Nolan and Dr. Nolan, she keep it real. I have always been 100 with my students. Like I don't sugarcoat. Like even with the bad music, like the rap music and stuff, right, Dr. Chris? I'm the one that tells students, I'm like, listen, we got the same messed up songs. I'm like, we had some and I love it. And I still like a lot of it, right? I don't like y'all's, but I still like ours. I said, but the difference in you all and us, and this is my trademark, y'all. Don't be trying to take it. I'm gonna get me Don. You on here? This is my next T-shirts. I told them the difference in me and y'all is that I used to say pound. And they was like, please don't say pound. The word is hashtag. I used to say pound FIFO. FIFO is an acronym for entertainment purposes only. I told them, I said the difference is we understood that was FIFO, right? We out in the club, we out there singing all the bad songs. I'm in the club. Clay, y'all remember Clay? Do get y'all? You might remember Corey. They ain't gonna know this. Give me a bottle and a mother cup, so me and my boys can get what right. I'm in the club. I'm the loudest in the club. Ange, I got mixed juice in the club. I don't even drink. If anybody really know me, they cannot tell they've ever seen me. I didn't drink at FAMU. I was Dee Dee, the designated driver, but I'm the loudest one singing the song. I said, but you children, they tell y'all to pop pills and drink syrup and do
Y'all gonna do it.
doing all of it. Like you're doing it all. That's the difference in now and them and us. I don't know how y'all got there, but y'all got to understand that this stuff is people. It is for entertainment purposes only. It's not for you to try to live that type of life. And so I think it's just because too many of us are not being real with those kids about it. Because when I say that to them, like, yeah, you right. I'm like, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's okay to not try to be her. Like you ain't got to try to be sexy red. Look Kim. I wasn't trying to be look Kim.
But
Listen to
everything we talking about, Doc, is a lot of this stuff has to start with the heart of the person that's
mm,
standing in front of the kids. Like
mm,
being in education, we already know because I did it. I used to wonder like, how come at them white schools they got all this good equipment, but we don't. And I
mm,
started asking questions, and I didn't even notice until like year 5 on the job as a coach. School money is based off taxes of the community. So like until we really educate parents on like whatever you make, you got to put it back in the community, and you got to
mhm,
work to stay in the community. You got to get more people that are making that stay in the community so our schools can be better. But it all derives from me, from the heart, because you're talking to a guy that got dyslexia. You're talking to a guy that the teacher told me you think football is everything. I told that teacher in high school, no, it's not everything, but I knew this right here. I wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy, and it is a way for me to make a better life. I knew I was going to the NFL because that's all I talked about as a kid. My dream was to play for the Dallas Cowboys, but I had teachers that cared. You know how hard it is to go through school being a star athlete, and then you find out you got a learning disability.
Mm.
Teachers don't even visit homes no more. Like they don't go. They came to the project where I grew up at. I'm a food stamp recipient, welfare kid. So
Yeah.
like a lot of this stuff has a lot to do with the grown-ups. Their heart is not right for what they're doing. Like these
So,
are
so
servant
Corey, do you
jobs
think
because there's not a lot of money.
we got like that's what Kwanzaa is literally about. Like you said, those principles, your values. The heart is about those values. And so here we are. We've been talking about unity and self determination. The next one we know is Ujima, which we said means collective work and responsibility. We've been talking about that. We all understand that concept, right? We know that it's all about we can't be individual. Because what I'm hearing you saying when you're talking about the hearts of these people, I think what happens is, like we've been saying, people have said in the chat, we've moved away from, and I said this earlier, we've moved away from collectivism, right? Into individualism, rugged individualism. And that just does not work for our communities. And it just does not help us to get to where we are trying to get. As I said last night, if you're doing it alone, you merely surviving. Together, we build empires. Together, we thrive. Alone, you survive, right? So that's what it is. And so we, for whatever reason, we're getting away from who and what we are. And that's really what these principles are about, Corey. Like you said, it's about the heart. Because how and why did those hearts change? Because, like you said, our coaches and parents and community had it, right? The neighborhood moms and aunties and neighbors, they had it, right? And then they had us. You agree with me so far, Corey? You agree with me,
Yeah.
Dr. Chris? You agree with me, Dr. Angie? So did we give it to the ones up under us? Or is that where it stopped? Did it stop with us? I'm asking a real question. This is
I,
a
So
real
we I think all of us majority are 70 baby. I just think that honestly, I think we have turned our community over to such young generation of mothers and teachers and educators that they just don't they we have people that give up so easy, adults and kids.
no grit.
Like they keep blaming that it's okay. I'm a 70 day. I was born in 71. They keep talking about, oh, they got this, they got that. We had video games, we had drugs, we had guns, we had violence. All this stuff was a part of our upbringing. But me just listening to y'all, I only reason I brought up heart, you can hear in y'all heart, this is y'all passion. So when it's your passion, it's not a job, it's a calling. Too many people
purpose.
are on a job
That's it.
and they're not working the job, they're just on it. So
That's
which
it.
in turn, it leads to these terrible results that we're getting out of our kids. Like I, I fight this all the time. Like how do you get them to win? How do you get these kids to be on one page? Because we have a lot of violence in the town that I work in. How do you get them? One thing about it, I'm gonna beat them across the head with up downs, running, discipline every day. If one football player do something wrong on campus, I'm punishing the whole team.
That's it.
Everybody,
So
everybody.
like it's like we
It's called
don't have
unity.
that mentality. We
All
don't
for one and one for all.
right. The grown-ups don't pick up each other. So when a coworker come in complaining about Corey, the other teacher say, "Yeah." Instead of saying, "How do we get to help this kid? How do we change Corey? How do we tap into him?" So once the teachers realize Corey has a gift, he really cares about that. Okay, we'll take this away from Corey if he don't do right. We'll tell the
Mhm.
coach. So because every one of these kids, when you really talk to them, when you really dig into them, they really want to be something
Yep.
no matter what situation they come out of. But until you give them that personal touch, and we're not gonna save all of them because I ran in like that wild bull when I first started coaching and working in the school system and being in discipline. I thought I could save all of them. They didn't have to play football. Like my
You
impact
still
is
know,
made.
okay.
It, you just have to care about what you do, and you have to care about the results and the picture that you're putting out, because one day you're going to leave. And I believe this, I tell our coaches this, and I tell teachers this: no matter what you believe in, what God, one day you're going to stand in front of him, and you're going to have to be accountable for all those kids,
Mhm.
all those opportunities you had to change lives, and you didn't. But these people saying they religious, they love God, but they'll turn around and tell you that kid ain't gonna be nothing. You can't do both of them. That makes no human sense.
That's it, man. We've allowed other people to define for us, and we talked about this earlier. What the rules of engagement is. I tell people, first of all, them my babies. I'm talking about the ones I birthed and the ones I didn't. You can't tell me how to engage my children. Every kid in the building, I tell people when I walk in, every 500-600 of y'all are my kids. Your parents sent me the best thing they had, and my job to them for them is to send them the best, improved version of you. It might not be the greatest version of you, but it's gonna be better because you're a child of mine. We've allowed other individuals by assimilation and trying to desig and go hang out with them and be around them to define for us what's right and what's wrong and how to deal with our children. You can't tell me how to deal with my kids. It doesn't work because I'm not going to step into another culture and tell you, well, your kid is bad because they do this and they do that and they talk like this and they walk like this. No, we failed our children by
Hey, that's
allowing.
good, though. Because I laugh at people that be telling me, I tell them, how you gonna deal with me? I know how to deal with me. How you gonna deal with me and you don't know me?
That's it. You
Like
don't know.
I deal with a lot of people that don't look like us, and I tell them all the time, I know how to fix me. I know how to fix me. Just let me do what I'm good at, and I can promise you, I can help you keep your job, and it help me keep my job. I'm good at knowing how to fix Corey. I know a lot of Corys that need real punching in the mouth at times. But if you say, look, Corey, let's just, we're gonna try to do it this. Corey don't understand that.
So you know
Corey
what?
don't understand that.
Let me tell you what it go back to, Corey and Dr. Chris. It goes back to this. So this quote I have on this. This is a part of Ujima. This was a part of Ujima. It's the last part. It says it emphasizes social justice and equality through, and I highlighted unity, community, mutual respect, and cooperation for the common good. And so everybody on this call tonight is on here because although you might not know specifically, like dead to rights, what your true purpose is, you know that it does involve children in some way. It involves leaving it better than you found it. And that's for them. That's what we're doing that for. When we're going into place and space and we're leaving them better than we found them, we're doing that for the generations to come. And so we all have a passion because our common good are these babies, right? And so it goes back to us talking about self and truly doing some introspection and reflection. And that's what the 7 days of Kwanzaa is about. It's about that reflective time of, am I truly walking in what I say I believe? Are my values aligning with my walk in life? Right? Are my values what I say they are? Are they aligning with what comes out of my mouth? What I do, etc. This is what this time is about, right? Because Kwanzaa is to be implemented 365 days a year. It's not just a 7-day holiday. And so here it is. We're having these conversations about these babies, and Corey Boucher talked about the heart. It's about the heart of people, which is really simply, your principles and your values. What do you believe in? What do you move by? As we see those that we've been speaking to tonight, we know that they believe in social justice and equality through community. They have a mutual respect for everyone, and they understand the common good, right? We know that this is who they are, right? So remember, Nia is the commitment to the collective vocation of building, developing, and defending our community, its culture and history, in order to regain our historical initiative and greatness. And I had a young lady on. I had my sister from Canada, my Canadian sister, because I'm honorary Nova Scotian. They gave me honorary status. I've been there 2 years in a row and presented, so they say I'm an honorary Scotian. Dr. Angie, it's cool up there. So my sister Tracy said that what has happened is, and Dr. Chris, Coach Fuller, y'all have kind of mentioned it too. Like she said, we've given up our ownership. Just as you're saying, defending our community. We, for whatever reason, when history has shown us otherwise, all the history, and all of us on here are intelligent people, right? We might not know all the history, but we know enough to make an informed decision. So history has shown us that the very people who cause your distress are not going to be the same people who fix it. And yet we have been sitting around passively
Yep.
waiting on Superman to come in and save us. And but
I
I
will say,
these principles, and I say I'm out here doing this work, and I'm about this work, but am I really? So if you're not serving others and you're not going into space and leaving them better, what really are you doing? What really are you?
let me say this. Like I am one of the proud Black women, 300,000 that got put out of a job behind all this craziness that's happening in our country right now in education. And I also found that there was that little moment in time where my heart was broken, right? Where my spirit was crushed. But at the same time, because of people like you and Dr. One Chapman and Principal Kefele and Dr. Akua and and Kobe Wilkerson pouring, they had to pour back into my spirit because of brokenness. And I'm saying this because when our kids see us broken, and if they see us give up, it gives them no purpose or reason to fight and keep going. Right. And so I could have easily said when they pushed me out of my job and all this stuff happened, I could have easily said no more. I quit. I'm just gonna figure something out. But no, I pushed because my purpose was to make sure that our children are culturally aware and strong, so that they can sit in classrooms and learn and leave with confidence to go on and fly. Period. And whether it's one school district in my county or all of them, if there's a Black child in need of support or help, they know my name. I mean, I've gone into stores where kids go, Mom, that's the Black lady that helps Black kids. Hearing that was enough for me. That was like, I'm your Superman.
That's it.
Right? But I'm grateful for those supermen and women who held me up, who reminded me that even though my crown was crooked, straighten it up, you good, And so that's the purpose that drives me, is because I've seen young men who under my care that have gone to the NFL. I've worked with some of the best in the game, whether it's NBA, NFL, MLB. And those young men will come back and say, Mama Barfield, we remember what you told us. We remember what we're supposed to do, And it's one of those things that if we don't get this right, I'm talking about us, we still have a little bit of time left to make this right. If we don't give it our all, what's coming behind us is not going to be recognizable. And so look, I'm just going to say the thing. I'm hell bent in California. Gavin Newsom knows my name. He knows it. And when he hears it, I know it makes him shake, because I have no problem saying Black people in California shouldn't vote for this man for nothing else, because he has derived us and hurt our kids. Enough is enough. My purpose is to instill and cultivate these kids to understand it's okay to stand up for yourself.
That's it.
It is okay for you to stand up for yourself. These folks are not going to help you. I have seen white colleagues who have turned their backs on me. They'll smile in my face, but they'll stab me in the back. And now I got to tell them there's no room for you here. I'm standing on business, baby. And that's how our kids got to walk. They just got to be that way. Our kids
The only way they're going to be that way is
they don't want a Black. They're not proud to be Black. And I got to,
and that's on us. That. And don't you say that's on us? Because I heard Corey say, because if we got there, I don't know how we came back. We said,
Corey said
and I said real tall. He said we 70s babies, and then he said we passed it to some younger mamas and grandmamas. We would be the grandparents and stuff. We would be the memas and the grandparents and the
keep it real. They listening to 70s music. They pumping up our music. What we grew up on, what our parents was playing in the house.
But they have a misunderstanding. The music that they're listening to today that defines a Black man and a Black woman, excuse my language, I'll say it, is bullshit. That is telling our kids a lie about us. And so now they have this misunderstanding of the person that they're supposed to be. That has been.
But that's because, Dr. Chris, they don't have any balance. Like I said, because we listen to it too. I remember.
But we know the difference. And like I said, they think it's real.
But
think it's
we
real, and we know
also
that
had
it ain't.
the other music and the other balance, and we understood that was like we understood balance. Like there's no balance for these babies.
Oh
All
no,
they getting is just
bull.
that's it, and
Yeah.
ain't
Say
nobody
it. Say
pulling
it,
it
Doc.
for 'em.
It's
Ain't no,
bullshit.
ain't
Yeah, I'm trying to be politically correct because I want Doc to invite me back,
Look,
but
our
it is.
president say
nobody.
bad words. We can
Yeah,
say
I
bad
mean
words.
it is bull, man. When
I
you
know
talk
you
about
already know me. Why you acting like you don't know me? You
if
know
we
I
don't if we don't do what's right by these children, like you said, I tell my kids as a principal, whenever there was a discipline issue in my office, I would always bring the kids in, and I would always tell the child, listen, tell your story before somebody tells it for you.
That's right.
Open your mouth and tell. I don't care about that adult sitting right there, and I would tell adults, you're just older. It don't make you right. It don't make you right. Just you're just older, but you got to give these babies the opportunity to tell their own stories so that we can correct them. There are a lot of people in schools that don't care about our goddamn kids. They don't
That's
care
the truth.
about. In 2019, I left the school district because I refused to sign report cards for babies who had GPAs that was less than a 1.0. I call them penny stock GPAs. I said that child cannot go anywhere. You're going to send them to the high school, and what's going to happen is math test scores are based on our high school kids' performance level. And so we are going to fill up high schools with kids who we already know not going to pass and give the state a reason to come in here to then hold us accountable for that. But
let's be clear. Let's go on and be honest about it, right?
hold on, Doc, don't cut me off.
I'm sorry. Listen, go ahead, Felix. I want to say why that is, though. Why that's the reason. We know why that is.
We scared white folks. But anyway,
I don't think that it is. I don't think we just what you just said. Like they're like 85% of teachers are white women. Like you said, like we right. So we're not conscious of who's really in front of our children. It don't really compute. Like we don't, because again, we go back to how we were raised, right? So I didn't have many black teachers. Hell, I didn't have my first black. I think my first black teacher was in junior high because I didn't go to middle school. It was junior high because I went to a black junior high. They bused me to a white elementary. I went to a black junior high. There were 2 black teachers in my elementary, 6th grade male, 6th grade female, and they were the paddlers in the school, right? So, but I didn't have them, and so I had my first black teacher in junior high, and so I don't think the disdain for us is as strong as the disdain that they are in the classroom with for our children now, right? It was a little more shielded. It was a little more passive aggressive. It was a little bit more covert.
and see
Now
where I
it's
come from, we have a lot
overt,
of neighborhood teachers.
aggressive, and
Right.
again, we're not cognizant. Like we're not giving our babies nothing to fight with. We ain't getting them no protection.
Yeah.
They ain't got no
But see,
armor.
that's what I'm working to do. Because Dr. Akua, he has a quote that he says he tells the kids, and I tell it to my kids all the time now. Discipline yourself so nobody else has to.
Has to. Say it again. I tell them all the
Period.
time. Check your
Discipline yourself.
own your stuff so
Yep.
that nobody else has to call you on that.
That's
If you're
right.
grown enough to do it, own it, and so that nobody has to call you on it. And when you get called on it, accept it. Accept it with the same veracity that you did it with.
That's
We
right.
got to get more adults to model that behavior. These kids ain't like us. People used to be able to tell us that.
And let me tell you,
These babies say, "Show me." You can't tell me something that you ain't doing.
and
Right.
that's what
You
they
can't
talk
tell
about
me.
in BSCU with our kids. We ask them the truth. How's your advisor? What are they? How are they supporting you? Are they supporting you? They're gonna tell you the truth. They're gonna tell me the truth. And then it's my responsibility to go and ensure and cultivate that advisor. I was like, you're an educator. You're the teacher responsible for the lives of these children. You are responsible for how they come out, good, bad, or indifferent. And if you can't do it, let me help you get there. Period. Now, if you can't do it, step aside.
That's it.
Period. You know what I'm saying? I have a whole program called Jabali Village. It's ran by Sharinda Bryant, one of the best Black educators out here in California. She left teaching. She was teaching in Palo Alto. And they treated her so bad and tortured her so bad in that school that she said, I can no longer teach. She was that traumatized. She is now healing Black teachers in California every month if they'll come. Some of them don't even know they're traumatized or damaged.
Yeah, they
And then
coming
they
now.
Yeah,
relay that
it's
trauma and
tough. Like, 'cause
damage on them kids. That's, see
when
what I'm saying? It's like, if we're going to talk about purpose, y'all, that's the purpose. Some of us just got to take the blows. You know, Corey is talking about taking, I got to stand in because these ignorant folks, these grown-ups, right? Dr. Chris just said it too. Like, come on, man. There's a way we got to do this thing. And if we got to take them blows, we going to take them for these
the problem
kids.
is there's not enough of us, to be honest. Like people
You
always
right
say,
about it.
I
I'm
made
trying.
I went and saw one of my ex players who's incarcerated, and I started to post about, and Dr. Nolan, you saw this. That's what made you want the kid that I went and see in jail. This is the thing about it. He was part of the shooting of the kid that played at FSU. So the kid I coached in high school. Now, mind y'all, we sent this kid to 2 colleges. We told him, when you get out of here, don't come back until you got that paper, until you made all your dreams come true. Then you come back and help. So on one side, I deal with the kid that got shot. I was at the hospital the night he got shot. They took him in, and the kid that's allegedly, they arrested 3 kids. One of the kids I coached in high school, he was one of the kids. So I went to the jail to see him. I made a post about it. No video, just a post, and I wrote something in there about the size of a coin with 2 sides. That one post got almost 1 million views. Our people care only when it makes sense to them. Those people that I encountered through education, the kids and the grown-ups. We had some good teachers and we had some bad teachers. And what I mean by bad, they just didn't care. And when you work in Black communities, in Black schools, the teachers look like the kids.
That's
Like,
right.
we spend so much time keep talking about the white man, they done this 400 years. Like, I'm gonna tell
Yep.
y'all, I don't subscribe
Them
to all
too.
that.
Yep.
I don't subscribe to that type language, that type behavior. Now, I do know who I am. I do know what I stand for. And I do know that I'm gonna be this person in this skin color until I die. So are the odds stacked against us? Absolutely. But we need more people like us. So the best thing we really can do is give what we got to somebody who is mirroring us that we see that's young. Because they're
Mm-hmm.
not doing it, like you said, the therapy of teachers. It takes a strong person to go into education right now, mentally and
Ooh,
physically.
Yes, sir.
Forget all the obstacles that they face through the testing, through the community that the kids are coming from, the situation kids are coming out of. We need to build these people up from the universities mentally that say, I'm going into education. You need to start preparing them. They need to give a course on how to deal with traumatized situations in college before a educator even get to a school, from elementary to middle school to high
and then,
school or
then I
junior
guess we
high.
go back to it, but then Corey, again, this is where and I don't know, this is where I think our disconnect as sometimes, as like Principal Bailey said, conscious folks, like again, who is expected to have this class? Because why would they have this class? Because again, we know who make up the majority of the classrooms. We just said, Dr. Amos said, we the only group of people that expect the oppressor to educate our children. That's just food because we're saying what we
But that's
need.
the system though. Like that's the
But
way the
we've been
American system is set
that's
up. Like, unless you're
Right.
gonna go build schools
we've been waiting on
and
the
go
system to
make private
provide
schools that
what we
cater
need
to
for a
us.
while. We can't keep waiting on the system. We have to provide those things ourselves. We have to play the game. It's the way, okay, how about I can probably bring this in here as an after school curriculum. I can bring it in as something, but we have to start being more innovative, which we go into creativity tomorrow, Kaumba, but we have to start being more creative and innovative as to the ways that we attack systems, right?
So
Because
so can
systems
can
do
we
have to be deconstructed.
can we take it back to where we were a little bit when we're talking about our parents? And some of our parents don't know how to be parents. They're just existing, right? Like when I was growing up on Saturdays, my mama took me to Saturday school programs, or I knew I had to go somewhere. These kids nowadays, if it ain't on their phone, if it's an inconvenience, they have an excuse for, unless it's I give my boys credit. I give my young men credit. If it's football, they up. If it's basketball, they up, right? But for the most part, there's no emphasis put on consciousness because they don't know who they are. You know what I mean? There's so many different versions of who we are as Black people. It's not even funny anymore. You know what I'm saying? But it's like with me, when they leave Ujima after 2 years, them kids, boys, girls are indifferent. Even our non-gender specific kids, they know who they are. They know where they come from. They understand. They walk in a legacy of excellence. They get it. You know what I mean? And sometimes it just we gotta get back to that.
But
That's why I'm saying we're the
cool,
last
though.
line of defense.
Consciousness isn't socially cool for our kids, and they're too concerned about how I look to my friends. Fuck what you look like to your friends.
Thank you, sir.
You were born, you came in by yourself, and if you lucky, you gonna leave by yourself. And your mom
how are they gonna get? They can't get it by osmosis. They got that. That's an ingraining that you have to do.
Because they too concerned about how speaking consciously makes them look to their homeboy or this next chick that they're trying to slide next to.
I'm saying, if they're thinking that way, how are they going to learn otherwise if nobody's telling them?
We have to start very, very early. Let me give you an example of something. I do some work with the St. Louis Blues Museum here in St. Louis. I worked at an elementary school, Richmond Heights. They had an exhibit. Third graders did an exhibit of the inside of the Jazz Museum and talked about the impact of the Blues Museum and talked about the impact the blues music had in being there. These are third grade kids who could talk about how these people talked about how sad the conditions were and how proud they were to be Black people. So we have to get our kids while they're still impressionable before a lot of the bull and BS. Little kids don't care about being popular. They really don't. They don't. Popularity don't come in until your hormones kick in at middle school when you're trying to slide next to somebody. We have to get them while they are very, very. It's becoming more and more.
Dr. Barfield, you got to build strong as opposed to repair broken.
That's it, man. It's easier to build a child than repair a man. And on my company, Imani, that's what's on our crest. It is easier to build a child than to repair a man. You got to get to our kids early before the enemy do. Because they at the neonatal ward when the kids jump out. The enemy is there. We got to be next to him saying, "Hey, Satan, have a seat for a minute." You know what I'm saying? This ain't your time. You have to try to you got to give me enough time, or I'm gonna take time to get in here and educate him and make him strong enough to fight you.
The problem,
I'm not talking about fight Satan. I'm talking about the mindset, the decisive mindset to destroy our children and Black men in general at any phase of his educational career. School
Dr. Chris,
systems don't like Black men in them.
You're right. But get this, Dr. Chris, we tried to do that out here in California. So if you guys have never heard of Dr. Lisa Mitchell, y'all look her up. That's one of the best. That's my girl. But anyway, she and I started doing BSUs at elementary school levels, because we wanted to track and see the difference in mindset of how those kids engaged with school, and how they engaged in community. The kids that we tackled early on, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, that are now in high school, different mindset. They show up for the meetings. They do whatever. They are involved in Black History Month program. And what's crazy is now they're getting sued. She's actually in litigation right now with a white conservative group suing that district because of the services and the programs that they were providing, not just for Black kids, but they were specific to Black kids because they needed the supports. But that it's those types of things, though, is that if we don't fight and show the kids you got to fight for this, that's how valuable your culture is. That's how valuable your mindset is, that they will sue to remove you and separate you from it because they know how strong it'll make you.
And that's when the collective needs to be. She needs to have a strong legal force behind her.
She got one.
Okay.
She got one. But it gets tiring.
Oh, I bet.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, all I'm trying to do is teach kids. They just happen to be Black that are in need. But because they're Black and in need, you gonna come for us?
Yeah.
But then at the
Yeah,
same
but that's why I
you
told.
want
That's
us
why I
to
said
teach you.
earlier.
You want our coaches, you want our boys on your football teams, you want our boys on your basketball teams, you want my girls, you want all this stuff. But when
All
it
that
comes
make
to
money, doc.
knowledge,
Right, go, coach. You was about to say something, Coach Fuller. What you about to say?
Doc, all that stuff make money. That's why they want us. At the end of the
you
day,
right.
they not gonna have like 1940 football no more. They're not gonna have 1950 basketball. So they're gonna do what it takes to get us on those arenas because that's the one place that they think. But the problem is, I was just telling them, educated this the other day. I said, the real issue is in the county is that y'all done took parks and rec away. Like when
Mm.
you don't get, like we don't give kids nothing to do at a young age. So
Everything
then when
that
they get to
worked, they
high
took
school,
away, Corey. Everything
you
that
want them,
worked, they took away Upward Bound. They took away the. I don't know
right?
if y'all
So
had
you want them to all of a sudden become this great person and this great athlete in high school, and they ain't did nothing
Right,
in youth age. So
right.
like me, I make it all count because like a lot of our oppressors are our own people, and that's just the
yeah,
truth.
that
Like
too,
we try to,
too.
like we know the structure of the system. Like that's why I said to y'all earlier, we have to identify young people that have a heart and a passion for our people, like we're doing. Like you said, that lady that's in the litigation, she's tired. We're gonna get tired. At the end of the day, who's there? Who's there to encourage the encourager?
Mm.
You're gonna get tired. Like
Yep.
all of us on this line gonna get tired, and eventually we're gonna have to pass that baton off. I ran track in high school, I ran track in college. That baton got to be passed somebody. So we have to try to put the person behind us in place. Like so, when I see all these young Afro American men coaching in PWI football, I try to educate them. There's a lot of money that may be made on the coaching side. We have been sold that the dream is the NFL. I have coaches that have made more money than me in 1 year of coaching than I made in 10 years in the NFL in this day of coaching. But you have to get their mind reversed. When I see them not trending towards the NFL, I start telling them, listen, relationships are big. Be careful how you act around here. Be careful how you talk to people because there's a lot of money to be made in coaching. And
Mm-hmm.
in coaching, you can save a lot of lives.
That's
You
it.
can change a lot of lives because 99.9% of kids that play college football would never play in the NFL.
Right.
So my mission is to help change through a system that we're not in control of. But I do know one thing. I'm not going to take no for an answer when it comes to people that look like me, when I know that I have an opportunity to make an impact, even if it's for a short minute or for a long year. But we have to find the people that's coming up behind us because
Mm-hmm.
we're all going to get tired.
I'll shaded that.
And what's keeping us getting not from is our each other. We have to make sure we're tapping into our resources too. I think one thing to your point, Corey, and it happens all in different aspects, not just in where you serve, but where you work. You'll when you get frustrated, you'll unplug, you isolate, right? When that's the wrong time is to isolate. So like Dr. Andrew was saying, when it happened to her, she had to realize, okay, let me plug into my people and not unplug so that I don't get to a space and place where I'm tapping out. Instead of me just taking a rest, a sabbatical, I'm actually leaving. And so I think that's when we have to make sure that we're encouraging one another. We're, like I said, make sure we're doing intentional, purposeful things to keep us in that space, to keep us in the space of um, doing the work of the seven principles, making sure we're intentionally and practically, doing those things. What we have to do is, like you said, Corey, we have to figure out pipelines. That's something that we don't do well. We don't do succession. We don't do proactive measures, right? We are a very reactive people. And I say this all the time. We instead of we can't respond to something to respond means you got something prepared. We react.
That's it.
We always just reacting because we're never proactive. We're never intentional. We have to have a plan. We got to put a pipeline in place. We are horrible about succession. We're horrible about it.
In
And
every aspect of our lives.
no shade, nothing about parties and all that. No shade, nothing about parties and all that. But that's what like the succession that we have be raggedy. And that's why we be getting deep. Because people be having real succession plans, but we be in positions and we be trying to step in there till we die. In some of these places, don't want to pass the baton.
Right.
Because I'm 52. I'm 26 twice, right? I'm 26 twice. And I be having other people in other words talking about, oh, y'all young people. I'm like, baby, who young? It's about time for me to go sit down in a little while. And you calling me young. The young people are the people that you ain't getting no licks to. We have to start preparing. So we know what they were guilty of doing with us, with the organizations, with the pipeline, with the politics and the organizations, your NAACPs, what are the urban leagues, all these different things all across the country. Are they having good succession lines, pipelines? But we have to make sure that we are not guilty of the same thing. So that means it's on us now to be doing that. Are we doing that in education? Principal Capelli was saying we need to identify them. He said he identified them as early as high school. I've talked about what we always talk about, Corey. The reason that we don't get people to go, you said something powerful earlier. You said you have to be physically and mentally strong to go into education in these day and age. And not only must you be that, but I'm not even finna make no damn money. And you think I'm finna come over there? If we truly are trying to get people to come into the pipeline and have that succession and have those people who have the proper disposition to be educators, we have to teach them how to become financially empowered. We have to teach them how to make money other than just teaching. They have to have passive income coming in. It's so many different ways to make money besides just that income. And so, especially we're gonna get a black man in the classroom. That's why they all leave. So we have to start being more proactive and intentional and stop being so reactive. And we'll coalesce in a minute, but when we coalesce, it's kind of chaotic because we ain't really coming in there with no structure and no plan. We meet in the
So
middle.
in the greatest state of high school football, arguably is Florida. It's open for debate. They paid me $3,200 to be the head football coach. Now, my job before that afforded me an opportunity to do it. It's not a lot of money, true enough, but teachers, they're not compensated compared to the world that we compensate doctors and lawyers. Like none of these kids can become that without the teachers in elementary, middle school, and high school.
But you know
Like
what it is, Dr. Cole?
we have a fundamental structure that is bad in America for things that really matter to who really should be getting paid.
But we
But the
know why that
reality of it is,
you know what it is?
no, I don't know why they don't pay educators. I'm baffled
Tell you
by
what,
it.
because over 85, I think it's like 87, like 85%, I think are white females, but a higher that are white people, period, right? White people. White people make up over 85, 87% of the teaching population. And so we live in a patriarchal society. We live in a white male hegemonic society. That's what we live in. White male hegemony is what it is, right? I wrote my dissertation on it. That's what I wrote about at Florida State. Roof. I'm on a hard road I walked, Dr. Angie. Talk about white male hegemony to white males. Do that, why don't you? That's what I did for my dissertation. And so what happens is we live in a white male hegemonic society. White men don't want white women to make any more money. The majority of teachers in a K-12 public system are white females, right? And so most white females are going to be married. And that means they have a husband who's the wage earner. Her money is just cute. It's not the money that's making the family up. And so they want her to stay in that position.
We're gonna agree to disagree because there's a lot of white teachers that are struggling financially too, and they married.
They want
But
them to
we'll
struggle.
agree to disagree.
That's my
But
point.
go ahead,
They
finish.
want
Go ahead
them
and
to
finish.
struggle. They
Go ahead and
want the
finish.
white female to struggle because the white male must always be on top. That's like the plan. Yeah. They don't care about nobody but them first. They're first by all means necessary. So what we have to do is again be cognizant. Like Principal Gafele put the quote up, like I said earlier. We the only people waiting on Superman to come in. We keep identifying like these different issues. They're never going to raise the pay of teachers. They're never going to do it. It's 2025 and we still having that talk, right? Since the inception of the education career as a profession. So what that means is we have to find innovative ways, kaumba, creativity, to figure out how can I engage this black man and encourage him to enter education sooner, or how can I make it be more strong for him? Real estate,
Right.
investment.
Because you gotta do the other piece is they buy black men out of a classroom quickly. They just offer him more money. They shoot him to an administrative role or a coach's role or a dean's role and pull him out of the classroom quickly. I stayed purposely in a classroom for 20 years, purposely, because I knew that I would get a great. The thing that moved me out of the classroom was an assistant superintendent by the name of Dr. Carter Oliver. And in my conversation with her, when she asked me why did I want to get into administration, I said I can impact and touch more kids in the building if you get me out this classroom. Because in this room, I'm stuck. But if I can get out and move within these classrooms, the lessons and the relationships that I have with my 22, when I started teaching, it was 35 in the classroom. So now, these teachers got 22 kids talking about, I can't do this. I'm not like, this is ridiculous. I used to have so many kids in the classroom, you have to walk down the aisles, kids from the front of the room to the back. But anyway, my thing was always to have a greater impact. I need the big bang situation because I know it's not many of us and I know my time is limited. And so my goal is to impact as many kids as quick as possible with me and 2 or 3 or 4 other people who are willing to do the work. And hopefully some of it will rub off on somebody else and they say to themselves, you know what, I want to do what Dr. Youngill did. I'm in the process of right now trying to open up a charter school in the neighborhood that I went to school in the high school building that I graduated out of. I've been struggling an hour. I come from Walnut Park, St. Louis, Missouri. I'm from the Walnut Park neighborhood. They closed our high school down. Our neighborhood looks like a ghost town. Our high school is closed. The middle school, the elementary school, everything over there in that neighborhood is closed. Why? Because people don't move in neighborhoods that don't have schools. They can deal with a crime rate, but if I'm not going to deal with crime and not have a place to put my baby in the school.
That's purpose for Dr. Youngill. They drain the neighborhood of all the and my Dr. Cohen is on. He talks about this all the time. I can't think of the word that he uses. Like all the ancillary services, the grocery store, the school.
Oh yeah, they did.
They get rid of all that stuff. They dry it all out, right? Subsequently, which means people start leaving the neighborhood because you ain't got nothing there. You have no resources there. You have nothing you can get to. Right. So then they take the schools and then all of a sudden they pop up as very, very nice neighborhoods or amenities and different things. Right. They strain them out for their real estate.
Oh, yeah. And then they go back in there and rehab the whole neighborhood.
But the problem is that we as a community, as the unity of our people have not stuck together and we don't reinvest in our own communities. They don't starve us out. We starve ourselves out. Like I tell people this all the time. Right. We probably don't own the buildings, but we had our grocery store there for 30 years. So that's on us. Like that ain't on them. Like, so we rented a building that we could have paid for 10 years ago. And when they didn't want to fix it up, we said, we'll close down the building or we'll move somewhere else. So we starving our own self out because
I agree, Corey.
I hear this all the time with HBCU students. Oh, they give y'all everything. Our boosters pay for everything for our programs at PWIs. But at Black institutions, you think about this. I keep it all relevant to what I did. If we would have invested into our schools as alumni at the HBCUs, do y'all think these PWIs would be as big as they are in football? We didn't fix our buildings. We didn't get no TV deals. We didn't get no uniform deals. We didn't get no shoe deals with Nike and none of that stuff. So guess what? The best players.
I'm gonna say now we don't give nowhere to the level that we should give. I agree, but the earnings is always going to be a major difference too, right? So even if
all right. So like, I'm not one thing about me, Doc. I don't have a doctorate degree, but I have a PhD in football too. So let me just tell you this: I worked at FAMU. If you got 75,000 alumni, if you just say give $200 from all 75 alumni, registered alumni that are in the database, if you say give me $200, you know what that $200 would be like? If you say you take this, all 75 just give $200. You multiply that. But when you try to explain to them, we got our stadium redone. That's $250 million. Our boosters paid for that. We got a brand new facility. That's $150 million. Our boosters paid for that.
Y'all got some rich boosters at Florida State. I mean.
But I'm saying, though, the problem is that we have Black rich alumni. They don't give back. So when you say they buy in our neighborhoods, we force them to buy. We let our buildings and our homes and our communities collapse all the way down. And then
my language said they would get rid of all the resources in the neighborhoods. We don't own them. We don't own the
But
farm.
okay, who
We
wants to come to a
don't
ran down neighborhood?
and then they subsequently get rid of the schools, which then people start to move away, and then the properties purchased. I didn't say that that's not what I said. That's a separate and distinct argument that I do also agree with. That's two different strategies, though. There is a strategy, to your point, where there's a devaluation of us for our neighborhoods until they see value in them, and by the time they're seeing value in them, it's too late for you to get access.
Right.
Just like you go into our black neighborhoods and tell us these Asian people have brought up all these homes in these communities. They don't
Yeah.
want them. They don't live there. They just buy them. They own them and they rent them out to the black people. I mean, and they slum landlords, all that stuff. Like it's so crazy. Like this stuff is way deeper than us for it. Like I petition to y'all to make sure that baton you holding, that we have tight, and that we want to see progress in our community and our babies. You better get that young one up under you, because I take it all of us are 40 plus old years or older on this live.
You put the
We
five on there.
better get the
Same, all us
we better get the people
Yeah, I'm double nickel.
working
53.
just the hard.
I'm 53.
How?
Yeah,
we all in the 5-0.
yeah, I'm double nickels.
Right.
Right. I'm 54, right? So, but I'm just saying, I didn't want to age nobody, but I'm telling you, we better find them young ones that
Yeah.
you see like us attacking it like we're attacking it, and try to pass everything we know inside of us. My motto, and I'm gonna be done because we're over an hour and 30 minutes. I didn't think I could stay on that long.
I'll let everybody close out. This your close out.
I do believe this right here. My motto is when I leave here, I'm gonna be empty. Because of the things that happened to me and I saw in my life, I want to be able to leave and then give everything I can to my people and to society to make a better place. My motto is, listen, find it better than you, leave it better than you found it. And all you do is hashtag just work and everything will work out. I thank you, doctor. I thank all y'all for this hour of power, hour and a half of power. I don't know who has a podcast for an hour and a half.
First off, it's Kwanzaa. It's a celebration. That's why.
Okay. That's the thing about me. When my people call, I always say yes. I said yes before I knew it was an hour and a half. Because I promise I told you, Doc, I'm not going to be on there for an hour and a half. I get up at 4:30 in the morning. But go ahead. God bless y'all. Y'all, I thank you for this hour and a half. Y'all are strong educators doing everything y'all can in your community. Keep it up. If you ever need me to do, it can be a Zoom call with your kids or whatever. I'm here to help as any way I can.
Well, make sure you share your information in the chat. Thank you, Coach Fuller. Dr. Barfield, you're next.
You got all our information.
I'm just grateful for the opportunity to represent, nearly 300 Black children in the state of California that need us to get this right. I am grateful. I will ask everyone, please follow us on social medias. The kids are looking to launch their own YouTube channel to elevate the voice of Black children, to, highlight different people that are doing amazing things for Black people. So we'll be tapping some of y'all to come on. But please, we are striving right now to monetize because our organization took a $300,000 hit because we're Black. Funders are drying up grants and funding because we're Black, So we need our community. This is a Kwanzaa time for us. So this is our Kwanzaa call to all of you. Please follow us on social media, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, watch their videos as we try to monetize this to help support their scholarship so they can go to school and do amazing things. But also, we're cultivating who we pass the baton to. I'm going to take that with me from tonight. We are cultivating a relay team of baton holders to do the work for us. So, Dr. Chester, thank you so much for just allowing the time for me to share what my purpose is, what I live for, the children that I work for, that I'm proud to represent. Because trust and believe, they're out there. And when my time is up, there will be someone else sitting in this seat to do the work, to stand in and go 10 toes deep with the system to understand that, our culture is more than a trend. You're not going to keep disrespecting us. You're going to respect us, and we're going to own what we own. So thank you guys so much. Dr. Chris, thank you.
No problem.
I'm so glad that you just went there because you helped. That just broke the glass for me. It was like, yeah, this is bullshit. So I am grateful to everybody. Principal Kefele, I see you out there. I love you. Thank you. And Dr. Chapman, California is in need. We're going to get you back. So thank you guys.
Those are other Black Educators Rock members, if you for those that she was talking about. Dr. Christopher Young L.
For me, one of the things that Brother Fuller said, I hold it close to heart. My goal is to, when I die, to die on empty. There's no need to take those blessings. TD Jakes did a special when he talked about when you die, all of the blessings and all of the talents that God gave you will be standing around your bedside, and they'll say to you that God sent me to you, and the only thing that could have brought me to life was you. And because you didn't, now I have to go to the grave with you forever. And people will never get the blessing that I was. And my goal is to make sure that when I go out of here, that I go on empty. I want my children to be able to say that my dad or my granddad or my great granddad had an opportunity or a part in that particular initiative or that school or that building, and especially in the resurrection of the Walnut Park area in St. Louis, Missouri.
Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Young L. And guys, just lastly, again, what this is just simply a recentering, a recalibrating, bringing you back to intentionality and a purposeful life. Tonight's conversation was about purpose. And so remember, when it comes to purpose, purpose is simply about us all making sure that we understand that we're all doing this for a common good. We're all doing this for a reason, right? It's that guiding principle that gives our lives that direction and meaning. We've been saying that's the children, right? Ultimately, it's how we leave in this earth for these babies, how we're leaving what we have for these babies. And so a lot of us have to reflect on and introspect and figure out, do we need to do better? Are we doing enough? We heard the Black men on the call say they leaving empty, despite, again, Kuja Chagalia to define ourselves and name ourselves. The narrative would be, oh, Black men ain't out here, they not. But these Black men taking care of theirs and theirs, right? Like Dr. Chris said, birth and not birth, right? Because those are still his babies. So it's out here, it's happening, right? Purpose, purpose, purpose. The commitment. These people have embodied the commitment to the collective vocation of building, developing, and defending our community, its culture and history, in order to regain our historical initiative and greatness. And so we know from whence we come, from whence we came. And so let's get back to it. Let's take the ownership back. Let's stop expecting other people to do for us what we have the capability and resources and know-how to do ourselves. And with that, we can't wait to see you tomorrow night for creativity. Principal Fele and Dr. One Chapman are on tomorrow.
My people.
Have faith on Thursday. And so we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Habari Ghani.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
God bless.
Root to the brugs.